synthesize the array code to boundary A. And the network perspective, NAT64 router is converting the IPv6 address to IPv4. Then it will communicate with the web server. It will get the response, and then automatically it will convert it from IPv4 to IPv6. That is how it is. It has been done from the ISP's perspective. And regarding the services, most of the application support IPv6, except you will get some problem in Skype. There is been some problem we have tested. Skype, it is not okay yet, but rest of the services you can get all the support on IPv6. There is no worries. You just move in and dig into it. Okay.
About the India portion, I can just add to what Shamin has said. In India, most ISPs offer IPv6 connectivity on their lease lines. Okay, if you procure a lease line from them, they'll offer you dual stack connectivity, both IPv4 and IPv6. And what I have seen is that ISPs are reluctant to give you more IP address space than a /29 is the max you'll be allocated, but they'll be happy to allot you any number of IPv6 address space. And if you compare the broadband, then again there is a dependency on the ADSL modems. Many of them do not support IPv6 connectivity, may require hardware upgrade or a software upgrade. Thirdly, on mobile network, many of the ISPs have a legacy network, and many of them are not have not upgraded beyond 2G or a 3G network, especially in the rural areas. So even their software stack may not be able to support IPv6 on their mobile network. So there is a lot of infrastructure upgrade that needs to that needs to be done before the entire mass population can be enabled with IPv6, and let alone them choosing to have an IPv6 exclusive connectivity.
I would like to share about one thing. It was just a few years back, the IPv6 traffic for Bhutan, like whenever we used to meet people from Google or from Epinik, the IPv6 traffic for Bhutan used to be like extremely less. So when I was with the other company, what we wanted to go start using IPv6, because that time IPv6 was something, you know, like it was equivalent to watching a horror movie. You used to be terrified thinking about IPv6. So how we started was, we initially started with using IPv6 dual stack within our office LAN. So that way, when we started using our IPv6 in our office LAN, we saw a rise in our IPv6 traffic for Bhutan Bhutan in general. And currently, like the company that I work for, Bhutan Telecom, so we are working on using IPv6 in for mobile as well, but then due to some hardware issues, hardware incompatibilities, it couldn't work. We did start, but then again it had to be stopped due to some due to hardware not supporting it. And then we are also the main reason why customers out there are not willing to take IPv6 is because their end devices do not support IPv6, and then we don't have proper training for IPv6. But then we as a community are having encouraging our use of IPv6 and then teaching them how do we do with that.
So my question is regarding comparing the maturity of the security in cloud and on-premise. So as per what is your understanding that whether any AWS, Azure or Google, whether their security is matured enough as on now comparatively on-premise?
Who is this question for?
Anyone can answer.
Fact is, they are launching new services, technologies, but they are testing it almost 2 or 3 years back end. So they have tested the security posture, security measures. They have taken some policies, not only for operation, but also for security. But fact is, when you are taking those sort of services from them, you need to make sure that you have taken some security measure at your end. That is the most important fact. So they are having SALs, firewalls, and lots of other things, but you are not secured. Your in device is not secured, so it don't help you at all.
So speaking about the system security and the IPv6, so the DDoS mitigation strategies, so is it different in IPv6? Or do you have the same strategies as compared to IPv4? So like if it's IPv4, so one of the DDoS mitigation strategies, so you could route your traffic to scrubbing farms. So does anything change with respect to IPv6?
Fact is, there is not much difference in DDoS attack in IPv4 and IPv6. Both are kind of same, but the tactics has been changed. You need to make sure that your system is configured properly from the firewall and from the kernel. There are some basic security hardening measures that can be taken, which I have mentioned on my slides. And if you are a service provider, you need to make sure that the end edge router or the distribution router, they are supporting DDoS mitigation policy. Because you won't mitigate DDoS single-handedly onto your system. It is not possible, because you have a limitation of resources, and some other are based on your utilizations. So you need to make sure that your network is also supporting this. Don't just stay on your system security only.
Hi, am I audible? Hi. So as we know, phishing is one of the very important.
Please hold it closer to your mouth.
Hi. So as we know, phishing is one of the major attack vector as per the last session. So I'm just curious, how can we protect our customers from getting phished? I'm doing something, but I'm just curious how others are doing that. How can we protect our customer from getting phished?
It is too tough. Seriously, it is too tough, but you need to search for some anomaly activities. If you are a service provider, or if you have central monitoring, you need to have central monitoring system for your mail transaction. There you can check out what is regular, what is normal, and what is abnormal. You need to string up something like that can show the subject of your mail content, or you need to have a centralized spam filter which will automatically update it a signature if it is proprietary, or if it is open source, you need to update the signature on regular basis. There are certain example on internet. You can take it as your standard and deploy it accordingly. But you have to educate your end user that anything which is not familiar to them has a URL inside it, like a blue color signature or blue color mark. Don't just click. Like a few weeks back, I got an email. Says that I have credited 1 lakh taka from a US bank, which is not familiar to me, because we don't have any operations of any US bank in Bangladesh. So I didn't click any of the links. Rather than I put it onto my lab and checked it whether it has any anomalies or it has any ransomware inside the mail content or images. So you need to put something in a plan to stop the phishing activities accordingly.
Okay, we have one last question this side.
I wanted to add
Sure.
what
Alisha.
she said. for the malwares in your email, if you have proper anti-spam, all those filters, I mean services running in your server, it will help you to some extent. We cannot say that like your malwares can be completely prevented, or it can be your mail server will be especially if it's open source. So we cannot guarantee that. It's something that we need to keep working on. We need to, as an admin, we need to keep monitoring our servers. And for emails, the easiest thing that I mentioned in my slide was the email headers. So that's one basic thing that we as an admin can do, and educate our other users also, and users also. One incident which happened in one of the banks that I know was, an email was sent to the front desk staff. So she replied back. She thought it's the actual CEO who is asking her to transfer that huge amount of money. And it looked, so for a normal user, if you don't check your email headers, it will look genuine. So she did all the transaction, everything, and then at the end, when everything happened, the bank had a huge they had huge loss on that, and then they couldn't get back the money, and they couldn't know who the actual spammer or the attacker was. So those are the basic things that you can take into consideration.
Hi. I have a couple of questions. The first one is for Shamim. When you deployed IPv6, have you tested the compatibility of the IPv6 systems with IPv4, especially when it comes to shared network? Maybe I would say a NAS storage or a SAN, or compatible between a Windows, a Linux, and a Mac system. Have you faced any issues? Because I have personally faced interacting or communicating with the printers. That's my first question. And the second question I have is for Derek. Derek, what I want to know is, as a customer, when it comes to security, do customers have an option to have the ISPs audited by the third-party audit service? Maybe if I want to get the confirmation from a third party, I don't want to depend upon ISPs saying that they are secured. I want some third party to do some kind of testing or a penetration testing in their resource or in their infrastructure and get me the report.
Regarding bandwidth, you have asked for, yeah, right? Yeah. Bandwidth, frankly speaking, we do have a centralized bandwidth management system. It is a proprietary. At first, we were too tensed whether it will support dual stack or not, because we have IPv4 existing and we cannot convert them to use IPv6. We are planning to deploy IPv6 for new user. Then we have contacted them. They have told me that it is okay, and yeah, we don't face any problem because of it. But there are few open source tools which are not adequate to support dual stack. It will increase your headache. Yeah, obviously. No worries. Please do contact with me after the session. I will tell you. Okay.
ISPs, especially most of the ISPs in India, premier ISPs, like the bigger ones, Tata Communications, Bharti Airtel Limited, you can say Reliance. These guys regularly get their network audited, because these guys usually are participating in government tenders. Okay, and one of the qualifying criteria in most of these tenders to give to provide services to a government organization is to have a quality certification. So mostly they will ask for a TL 9000 certification or a ISO 27001 certification. The first one is mostly ISO 9000 certification plus some telco related specific requirements. Second one is the regular information security. So if you ask any ISP, they'll be happy to share their certificate with you, but they will not share the third party findings with you. because that would be revealing too much. So they will share the certificate, they undergo these processes, and you can check whether the certification is expired or not, but they will not share with you the third-party auditor findings. So is that clear?
Yeah, thank you, Derek, Shamin, and Alisha.